Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Today's Tuesday, November 27, 2018. 331 days into the new year. Just 34 days left. And as always, we are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? What is it, Taco Tuesday? Is it really? It's kind of funny that just got posted. That's right. Because we are going to do some south of the border cuisine tonight. We are. We're not doing tacos though. Something else. How you doing? Let's get this show cracking tonight. Very special guest, R.N. Vooght is here. We're going to talk about his new book, The Spirit in the Sky: Ancient Cosmological Gods and Where in the World We Find Them. That is the conversation tonight. So get ready. Tomorrow night, right here on this program, Scott bleepin' Walter is with us tomorrow night. Yep, that's right. Knights Templar. Yeah, Sinclair. The Lost Journals. That's what we're going to do tomorrow night. I cannot wait for that. Thursday, another Fader night with Teresa Yannaris. She's going to be here. Divine Frequency on the airwaves. Followed by open lines all night long. And there you go. That's our week here. Now you know what to do. On Stellar.com, the new social media platform built for us. On Stellar.com, you can go find me there. Twitter, at JChurchRadio. All right. Will you be at Barrett? Will you be at Jeremy Corbell's premiere Monday? That just popped up on Twitter. Maybe we're seeing if we can put that together. We have to move around Monday's show. That is already booked and scheduled and done. So I would love to go down and hang out with Jeremy and Bob Lazar, right? George Knapp. Yeah, that'll be a pretty cool event. So I'll see what I can do about getting that set up. It's funny that this got posted. It's Barnett. Fox 5 News in Las Vegas, because we were talking about that and getting that set up earlier today, trying to pull it off. So we'll see what we can do. I would love to be there for that. Are you going to be there? That's the question. Are you going to be there? Fox 5 News, Las Vegas. Okay, where am I at? Facebook, YouTube, you know what to do. It's all Fade to Black, and all the links are over there at Jimmy Church Radio. Okay? Any questions or comments tonight or any other night? Hashtag F2B on Twitter. That is the sandbox. Quickly filling up. Yeah, I know. I see the Jimi Hendrix. I do. I see the Jimi Hendrix right there. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Any questions or comments? Hashtag F2BQ. Fade to black questions. Okay. All right. Today is Tuesday, by the way. Taco Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. And this morning, when you woke up, what was the biggest company in the world? This morning, when you woke up, was it Apple? Nope. It was not. Was it Amazon? You say, Jimmy. Was it Amazon? No. Again, no, it was not. It was, wait for it, Microsoft. That's right. Bill Gates is back, baby. Yeah, Microsoft. Microsoft today, the biggest company in the world. Yep. See, and what's weird about that is Bill Gates, you know, he doesn't have to deal with iPhone sales, right? He doesn't have to worry about that stuff. Yeah, Microsoft, biggest company in the world today. So there you go. See how long he hangs on to it. If Apple keeps struggling, yeah, maybe Apple will fall to number 3, you know, for a little while. Did you know? Check this out. Apple, and this is one of those little known facts. This is a little thing that I have. I'm able to walk around. You come up and you go, hey, Jimmy, what's up? Nothing, man. You know, you got a fader fact for me? I do. I got one right now. Did you know? And I just got this stuff all the time. Drives Rita crazy, by the way. In 1986, Apple launched a clothing line. That's right. Now, was it successful? Well, you didn't know about it until right now. So there you go. But they launched clothes. They did the whole thing, too, by the way. All right, what even caused that to happen? Oh, yeah, today. Microsoft, number 1 company in the world. Don't forget, you can come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo right here in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and David Wilcock. Okay, now they've got a huge list of speakers and presenters this year, but George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannaris, and 50 other speakers will be presenting at this year's 2019 Conscious Life Expo. All you have to do, go to consciouslifeexpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or you can just click on the CLE banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Now, we announced last week our new sponsor here, builders of our new night vision goggles, and that is Hoffman's Optics. Now, if you go to hoffmansoptics.com, they're right there, the Jimmy Church model, the Area 52, the deep blue, right there at Hoffman's Optics. Go and check it out. We'll get the links up in Twitter for everybody to go and get yourself your very own NVGs, night vision goggles. All right, by Hoffman's Optics. And their banner is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, I've been bagging on Bitcoin for a week. I'm going to let them go for tonight because they're still at 3,700 ducks. Had they dropped, right? Do you guys think they'll be in the 2,000s this week? Is that possible? Could it continue to just tank? I had said, and I still stand by this, I had said last year and the year before, and maybe even the year before that, Bitcoin needs to be like $1. It'll be successful. You're going to still mine Bitcoins, right? Just make it $1. Just get that thing down to where it needs to be, $1. $10, $3,700, $35, $42, $6,000, $19,000. No, that's not. No. Then it's an investment. If you want it to be money, right? It needs to be $1. $10 max. So we know how to do the math. I mean, if I'm going to buy a new pair of sunglasses, if I'm going to buy this bottle of Skull vodka, and it's $10, right? Right? It's $10 for this bottle of vodka. Well, I need to know that it's 1 Bitcoin. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know. I don't need to figure out software and what is it trading at. No, I need to know the value of my Bitcoin. That's all. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But I'm pretty smart. And anybody out there that's going to try to school me on Bitcoin, there was... I've got other stuff to talk about. Last year, this guy, and I'll get to it. Last year, this guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, I need to tell you about Bitcoin. Let me, And I was like, "Hey, you need to slow down." "No, man, it's going to be $100,000 by the end of 2018. "Oh, really?" "Yeah, man. And I'm a secret trader. I know what's going on, man. It's going to be $100,000. And if you need me to come on the show, I'll tell everybody how to do it with." "Really?" "Well, okay, Mr. $100,000, and you know who you are." It's trading at $3,700 today. So who was right? That's all I got to say on that. Where am I at? I'm having a good time. I'm in a good mood. It's going to be a great show tonight. Let's get this show cracking. I'm just going to jump ahead right now. Our dead guy's birthday today, and we have 2. Jimi Hendrix and Bruce Lee. Hendrix was born in 1942, died in 1970 at the age of 27. Lee was born in 1940, died in 1973 at the age of 32, but both were masters at their trade and changed the world forever. 50 years later, nearly 50 years later, when you listen to Jimmy or you watch some Bruce, you realize that they were both the absolute very best. And they're up there listening right now. Happy birthday, Jimmy. Happy birthday, Bruce. On this day in history, OTD, 2005. Aerosmith and 50 Cent headline a $10 million bar mitzvah in New York, the Rainbow Room. $2 million for 45 minutes on stage. I'm not making this up. Also at the event, paid for a walkthrough, Kenny G, Don Henley, Stevie Nicks, and Tom Petty. You can't make this stuff up. Seriously. More on this in a couple of minutes. Fader fact. There are more life forms living on you right now than there are people on planet Earth. Yeah. That's your Fader fact. All right, tonight, R.N. Vooght joins us from the UK. Talk about his new book, Spirit in the Sky. Tomorrow night, researcher Scott Wolter is right here. Thursday is another Fader night with Teresa Yannaris and Divine Frequency on the airwaves, followed by open lines all night long. All right, let me hit this River Moon Coffee. Do you have River Moon Coffee? If you don't, you're missing out on this. It's the best. Oh, my goodness. How does coffee get that good? River Moon Coffee flies a private bush plane to these islands in the South Pacific, collect the beans from the top of a mountain, fly it back into the United States, and roast this coffee. Yeah, this doesn't come from some Starbucks plantation. No. My goodness. That is a good cup of coffee. All right. Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Facebook? It's certainly possible. Before 2016, Facebook could do no wrong. Everything was rosy. addiction and FaceTime on the social network were increasing. And the full takeover of the world seemed pretty close. Really, really close. It was there. Well, this week saw a document dump from, well, let's just say this. You can go to The Guardian in the UK, go to The Guardian's website, and they're posting everything right there. But with titles like how Facebook guides moderators on terrorist content, or hate speech and the anti-migrant post, Facebook rules. Or how about this? How Facebook handles Holocaust denial. That's a real document. And what Facebook says on sextortion and revenge porn kind of says it all. These are some very troubled times for the tech giant. And before we say that Facebook is too big to fail or go away, I have two words for you. America Online. At one point, America Online owned the internet. All of it. And before you say, hey, wait a minute, there was this and there was that, you know what? Stop. Please, just stop. America Online owned the internet. I don't have to mention MySpace. That's just too easy. Or Excite, right? Mozilla. Netscape Navigator. Nope. AOL was king of the world. But back to Facebook. There is no doubt that their dominance is real. There's no question about it. But all of the great companies of the past, and I mean all of them that ruled the world, all of them have gone away. And you need to think about that for a second. It's not all tech. It's not all internet. No. How about General Electric? Friggin' Thomas Edison, man. GE. Right? It's nearly worthless today. Bell Telephone. Alexander Graham Bell. Monopoly. They owned it all. Broken up. Insignificant today. Even though I've got a AT&T iPhone. Right? But they're not a major player. General Motors, GM, today announcing they're taking like 6 cars out of the fleet. Cadillacs. The Chevy Malibu. Right? General Motors, GM dominated this planet, man. Not so much anymore. How about Pan Am? How about France? Right? Rome. Next is the United States. And I could go on. It's just pointless to do that. But Facebook, unlike AOL, Facebook is not the internet. It is not. It just uses the internet. There's a big, big difference here. Facebook could be broken up tomorrow into a bunch of smaller individual companies, and life would just go on. The internet ain't going away, right? Mark Zuckerberg does not realize that. Just like with AOL, Yahoo, Excite, MySpace, how about Napster, right? Napster. At one point, Napster, I forget what the numbers are, but at one point, Napster was like 20% of all internet traffic. They're gone, broken up, right? But how do I know that we are close to hearing the 4 horsemen approach? How do I know this? Today, I saw the video of Kim and Kanye boarding a private 747. That's right. I saw the video. Just for them. Well, and their trainer. Now let's stop and think about what I just said. Let's analyze that for a second. You know that we are on the brink of total social collapse when things like this actually happen for real. When you see something like this, you have to take a look around and just say to yourself, how did we get here? Seriously. Kim and Kanye got on a private 747 by themselves. There's nothing that I can say. There's nothing. There are no words for it. So let's analyze this for a second. A woman, rich and famous for, well, I don't know why, and a man who's also rich and famous for, I guess, music, kinda, or for being married to the woman. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just don't. I don't. It boggles the mind. But the said woman shoots a video of them boarding a private 747 and bragging about it, walking through it, saying things like, look at all of these bedrooms. What? What? And then posting the video online. Why? It's like, it's the let them eat cake moment. That's a bad mistake. Who are you posting the video to? Does the world really need to know that this is going on anywhere on the planet? And I mean, we all know it does, and I get that. The 747 was built for somebody, and I get that too. But do we need to see it? Do we need to see it in use? For real? No, we don't. And especially by Kim and Kanye, by the way. How did we get here? I guess that a Gulfstream G5 just wasn't good enough. Right? And the rich, the true rich, don't post videos of themselves doing that. Right? The Sultan of Brunei or whoever, some emir in Qatar, whoever owns these jets, are they posting videos of them on Instagram for the world to see? No, they do not. They have class. I guess. But think about this. Honestly, that isn't the point. The point is, and what is important here, first off, is that Kim and Kanye are not rich. They're not rich. Not by rich standards. No, not at all. Far from it. The particular plane that Kanye and Kim were on, it's privately owned. And I can only estimate as to the cost required to operate it. But it's in the neighborhood of $200,000 per hour. That's right. And they got on the plane alone. $200,000 per hour. A 5-hour flight, New York to L.A. You do the math. Now, I was with the Silicon Valley tech dude a few years back. Really, really, really rich guy. And he asked me, he said, Jimmy, who's at the top in Hollywood? I remember telling Rita about this entire conversation. Who is at the top in Hollywood? And I threw him a few names, right? And he's on his cell phone, and we were talking money and net worth, and I was like, what is this, what's this guy's deal, And he just looks down and shrugged his shoulders. And I was like, what? And he said that, and I'm talking about, I was dropping Hollywood names, right? Big ones. And he's like, this is what tech executives make in a year. In Silicon Valley. This isn't real money. He said tech money is real money. It's like, and then he said something that just floored me. He said that they hire the Hollywood crowd for entertainment. Right? For entertainment at their parties. Chew on that for a moment, Kim and Kanye. Anyway. He was looking for someone to do a walkthrough at his party, entertainment. Maybe do a little bartending in Palo Alto. How much is Will Smith? Right? I was like, What? Oh, man. Some stuff, you just can't make this stuff up. But what is important is that sometimes things just get too big. People with that kind of power and money forget what got them there, including Mark Zuckerberg. The world will revolt. Let them eat cake, right? It always does. And my advice to Kim and Kanye, don't film it. Don't post it. It doesn't impress anybody. And the real rich, the people that have the real money, because you don't, you guys are hired entertainment at other rich people's party kind of money. Don't forget that. They have no problems. Kanye showing up. Okay, man, cool. Walk through. And listen, over there, can you mix some martinis for me and my friends? That's how they look at you, Kanye. Don't ever forget that. We don't need to see that you think that you have so much money that you can just waste it. Light it on fire, burn it up in the streets, right? That you are just too big, too important to have it all taken away. And the same advice goes to Mark Zuckerberg. It does. Today, we're starting to realize that we've just let things go just a little bit too far. And you know what? We want it back. And it's going to happen to Facebook. I think we're right at the edge. Everything that put Zuckerberg there, he's forgotten about. He's lost touch with reality. The universe has a way of balancing things out. It always does. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. It is an amazing night, an amazing week, and I am thankful for everything. I've never forgotten what got us here. It's you. It's this community. Thank you for everything. Tonight, R.N. Vooght is here. We're going to talk about his new book, The Spirit in the Sky, Ancient Cosmological Gods, and Where in the World to Find Them. Tomorrow night, Scott Wolter is here. Thursday night is another Fader night with Teresa Yannaris and Divine Frequency on the airwaves, followed by open lines all night long. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your Jimmy Church. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many, many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of Doing What's Right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Just going to let everybody know you just watched me post up on Twitter. We've got connection problems with the UK. So I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. I'll just open up the phone lines until we get the UK all sussed out. All right. Open lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. And I'll set the tone as I wait for the phone calls to come in. I didn't take, just out of the gate. Eric, how you doing?
The lines are open.
Yeah. We got connection problems going on with the UK, so we're trying to get that sussed out. But open up the phone lines
let's talk Bob Lazar for a minute. You feel like talking about?
I'll talk some Bobby Lazar. Absolutely.
Did you get a chance to hear any of the radio show on Coast to Coast the other night?
No, that was Sunday night.
Yeah, I recorded it. So if you, I know you don't follow me and you don't care about anything I do on Twitter, but it's on my pinned tweet if you want to hear it.
Okay, but let's put that to the side.
Okay.
What is it that you want to talk about?
Well, okay, the December 3rd, Monday, they got the show premiere, and Bob Lazar is going to be there in L.A., so I'm calling to ask permission if I can invite Rita, because I know you've got a show to do that night. Can you handle it on your own? Can I pick up Rita and we can go watch? I got an extra ticket.
Really?
Yeah. Then we can call in after the movie and report live.
So if I'm at the premiere, you're going to show up with my wife?
Oh, you're going to be there?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, it's Monday night. You got a show to do. How are you going to? What? I didn't know that you're going to be there. This is new news. Is this breaking news?
Should I cancel the show? I'll cancel it. It's Bob Lazar, man. It's Bob Lazar. It's Jeremy Corbell. It's George Knapp. It's Los Angeles. It's a Monday night.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a blast. I'm excited about it.
Well, hopefully I'll bump into you. You want to meet?
So you are going to be there. You're not pulling my leg right now. You're going to be there.
You know, these are surprises. I got to surprise people.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I didn't want to ruin your surprise.
But what is it that you want to talk about, Bob?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you are with Bob. I'm 100% down with Bob Lazar's story, and I know the great Stanton Friedman. Even to this day, there's certain aspects of his story that he just will not let go, which I can understand that. And then I just had an itch yesterday, so I called up Clifton Stone because I asked him. I wanted to know what his take was on Bob Lazar, and he had respect for what Stanton has said, and he did bring up the part. This is the part, and I don't think this credits Bob, but the fact that I guess they can't find any pictures of him in the yearbook. I mean, I think in the movie they're going to prove that he worked there. I think that's what we're going to find. Some new information is going to come out, or maybe not new to you, but new to the public in terms of the depth of research that that Corbell did to verify. But I don't know. It would be kind of neat if Stanton. We sent the movie to Stanton, and he watched it, and then he watched the 2.5 hours of extra clips they're going to add in there, and then he says, I might have made a mistake on this one. That would be kind of cool, I think.
Well, I think okay, but see, this is my take on Bob, and I have I've analyzed and gone over it so much. All of his original videos and everything that I could find over the years. I've watched him over and over and over again, every word. And I've got to, I mean, Bob is the real deal. And I could be so wrong on all of this, but there's just something about his delivery and the way that he delivers his information. I've always thought that Bob was solid. This is the crazy thing. He chose, he, out of everybody in ufology, Bob took his lumps, right? I mean, when people like, Stanton Friedman are looking into your background and coming down on you publicly, that's tough. That's tough ridicule. There are others out there who have had criticism over the years, but not from significant somebody like Stanton, and Bob chose to walk away. He left and did his thing, and when he chose to go that route, for him it wasn't about fame or anything else. It was he just didn't want to deal with it anymore. When you have things like, MIT or your credentials at Pierce College, which is a community college here in the Valley, when all of that stuff comes into question, that's hard. That's a hard thing to have an excuse for or a story for. But he chose to walk away. Today, the community has stood by him. And that's a hard thing to do, to stand that kind of test of time. This is now 2018. We're going into 2019. And this is the crazy part about it. We're talking about 30 years, man. 30 years. And to turn around and have this kind of support from the community 30 years later, and the film coming out and everybody standing up behind him, well, he's stood the test of time.
And he sounds convinced, and I trust his scientific mind, that three numbers, 115, the element 115 that he talked about in the beginning, that, as you know, not so many years later did they actually come out and say, yeah, there's an element 115, as if they, But the point is he believes that is the key that propels these craft, and he said that whoever can back engineer or engineer that technology, this or at least perfect the 115 technology, he says straight out they could literally control the world. And so I thought about that. I thought, okay, so it's a race. It's the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans. Who can design this back engineer these craft? But when he said whoever has this technology can control the world, really, I mean, if you think about it, it sounds nutty, but couldn't the aliens already be controlling the world with this 115 technology?
Well, could be. And the other day, I brought up a good point about element 115, which is, hold on, Rita, which is it was manufactured, it was never mined.
Interesting. You want me to get off the call now?
No, that's fine. That's
give
fine.
You a little buffer time there to get your guests back. I'm looking forward to this guy. I'm really I haven't heard of him, but I did a little research, so I'm really interested in what he's going to tell us tonight.
Who? RN Vooght?
Yeah, is he still coming? Or
Well, we're working on it. It's just a connection issue. Eric, what are you talking? We're talking about Bob Lazar.
Okay, my bad. So I thought I was getting ready to get booted off the call there. Get Eric off the call. We got the guest on.
No, I don't think that's what she said. But what do you think Lazar stood the test of time?
Yeah, and I don't know. One of the things he said, he said some things that I don't think he said before, but it doesn't mean that he did. Anyway, he was talking about a time when he was out at the S4 and these craft were in the sky, and he's observing the craft, and that when he stood directly under the craft, looking at the craft where it was supposed to be, that because somehow these things are designed in such a way that they could bend the light, and that you couldn't see it. You could see through the craft, but at certain angles, if you were 200 yards and you're up on a platform, you could see it. But if you were directly under it, you could not see it. And I'd never heard him say that before. I thought that was kind of interesting, that depending on the angle that you're seeing, and that's what he was saying, why some people might be looking at a craft and seeing it, and then somebody else might not see it. And he was trying to explain that might be the reason.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. With Bob, we have to look at it so many different ways, right? When you look at his background on the Los Alamos connections, there's all of that stuff. There's his photo processing gig that, he had, the equipment. Of course, you have the little rocket car that he built. There is the other aspects of his life that were a little bit strange, how he came in contact with John Lear, which that's a whole nother, thing in itself. And then how he got hired over at Groom Lake and S4, and how long was he actually there for? Was it just a matter of hours, spread over a couple of weeks? I've always been a little bit confused about all of that. And his exposure and how rapidly they took him through some pretty heavy stuff. But the thing is, none of this, Area 51, S4, Element 115, gravity waves, drives, his approach to all of it, none of this would have been part of our community if it wasn't for Bob. And we need to just stop and take a look at all of that with a very, very honest approach. That's my take with Bob. I always thought that he was just very, very, very convincing.
Did you know that when this all went down, and the story, he actually tried to call his superiors, trying to figure out why they weren't calling him in anymore, and then he was going to the gym with his buddy that lived around the corner from him, and one night they're at the gym, and he comes out and all his car doors are open, his trunk's open, his hood's open, and nothing's missing, and he just thought maybe they left the door open, the kids were messing around. Comes back a couple days later to the gym. They make sure they lock the doors this time, and he comes out like 30 minutes later, and the same thing, right? So now he's freaking out because this is just a few things that happened to him, but there's a lot of other crazy things that were happening to him. So he literally went and bought an Uzi. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah,
he had an Uzi, and he would take him to the gym with him, and he left it on the seat. And so I guess this was like the third time he went to the gym with a buddy. He left his wallet and the Uzi in the car, and he came back out again. All the doors were open, the hood was open, but the Uzi was right there, and the wallet was there. They never took it. So he said that they were really trying to mess with his mind really hard. And there's a lot of stories about that, I think, that are going to come out in the movie. They're going to be really interesting to hear.
Well, and he got shot at, right? They shot out his tires one night, and I think Bob is fascinating. So maybe I will see you there on Monday, Eric.
Okay, cool. So I got an extra ticket. So I'm thinking Brad. If Brad's listening, Brad lives there in L.A.
Sure.
So I'll take Brad along.
Okay.
He'd be the right guy to bring, don't you think?
Post it on Twitter. I'll talk to you.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, take care.
Monday night is the night here in Los Angeles. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi.
Hi, who's this?
This is Piro Vasu, first-time caller.
Hi, how are you? Hey, I'm going to put you on hold. Stay right there for a second. Stay right there. And I believe... RN, are you there?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hey, it's good to hear your voice. You look good.
I thought I had a face for radio.
Well, I just brought you in right away. I should have done a proper introduction. So let me actually get some of this out of the way really quick. That first off, your first book was the Devolution Cycle, De-Evolution Cycle, I should say. And now your new book, which is Ancient Cosmological Gods and Where in the World to Find Them. And you have a relationship that is been going back for a while with John Anthony West and, of course, Graham Hancock and Randall and Laird, Brad Klausen, right? All of them have been guests on this show many times. And now you've got the new book out. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Now, this is the thing, RN, or should I just call you Richard?
Please do.
Okay. This is where I kind of want to start out because what I think is important and what you are writing about here is that all of these concepts and ideas from Graham and from Jaws and Randall, Laird too as well, these concepts are now really are firmly planted. I think they have a really good footing. It wasn't the case 15, 20 years ago, but now as we move forward, the things that they have been talking about for so long, I think are accepted now. Is that what brought you into this?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that maybe 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have the use of the internet that was banding everyone's minds that were studying human history, really. We kind of felt somewhat isolated, other than going to the bookstore, and grabbing some of these amazing works by the John Anthony Wests and the Hancocks of the world. So other than that, we were kind of somewhat isolated, but now the wonder of the internet's kind of brought this community together. I should say what a marvelous job you're doing yourself as well, because it's the research of the aforementioned gentleman that you've just stated. That obviously I've done a lot of reading of their materials, but it's the podcasts and the radio shows that's really starting to create an amazing platform for these researchers and writers.
What is it? Well, Richard, let me jump in for a second before we head to a break. What is it about ancient Egypt and the Great Pyramid that society just can't let it go? If we just accepted, right, what history is trying to, the Egyptologists and what they're trying to tell us about the Great Pyramid, then it's no harm, no foul. We just move on. It was built by Khufu. It's a tomb, and that's the end of the story. But we won't accept it. Why is it that we just can't let it go?
It's I don't even know if you can answer that within the context of even the airtime that we've got this evening. I think that there's so much going on there. It beggars belief, and to consider that these things are just built as tombs for egotistical dynastic pharaohs of a bygone age is it's almost childish, to be fair, with the amount of profound. Coincidence is a word that kind of bounds around a lot when we're talking about the Great Pyramid. But with regards to the tools that were at hand and the cumbersome size and the precision of the blocks, and even what they were cut out of, with the tools that we're told that was at hand back in the day, I think it becomes almost laughable to accept the mainline story. The mainstream story. But that's all they were, built as tombs, especially the Great Pyramid. Like you say, Khufu has built it for a resting place. I mean, if this guy really doesn't want to be found with all his jewels and whatever he's being buried with, I think the last place on Earth you're going to bury him is in the Great Pyramid. I mean, the location itself is so significant. It's unbelievable. It's right in the center of all geological landmass.
Well, and there's one other, and we'll be discussing this for the rest of the night tonight, is for me, when we have the logistical side of stuff, which is, the size of the pyramids, how they were built, the location, that we can accept. It's a physical thing. Okay, so there's that part. But there's the other side of this, which is before the dynastic period and what established everything. And I'm talking about the ancient gods of Egypt, that which goes back thousands, if not tens of thousands of years or further back. It's very difficult to do this research. Certainly, the Egyptian culture knew about and had these gods for themselves, but the research and what is really going on there—that's the most difficult thing to get to, and for me, it's the most fascinating part of the story. Certainly. But I think we're still being somewhat spoon-fed a cartoon book version of what's actually going on with all these animal-headed deities that are supposedly presiding over ancient Egyptian society. It kind of beggars belief, to be fair, that we're still, sorry to repeat myself, sort of spoon-feeding grown adults a timeline that doesn't really make sense. I mean, we're not even listening to the Egyptians' own story, really. I mean, there is no evidence that they actually built the pyramids themselves. Khufu himself is renowned for actually stating that. I mean, I don't know how you stumble across a pyramid that kind of size, but it was somewhat found and systematically restored during the timeline of what Egyptology is saying that it was actually built, which is nigh on impossible. I won't go over it too much because obviously you've had guests on here that have quite evidently put it to rights. But there's most definitely something that's been lost in translation. Along the way. Right, and how do you start researching this subject, because it seems nearly impossible?
Sure. To be fair, there was a number of precursors that really got me to the hypothesis of the spirit in the sky. And in all honesty, to be fair, I've done a number of presentations like this already, and I've prepared myself every time for it. But all best preparation kind of gets thrown to the wind because obviously conversations are never the same. So where did I start? probably picking up, I don't know what came first. It was either the much missed, the late great John Anthony West's Serpent in the Sky.
Right.
It was either that or Graham Hancock's Fingerprints of the Gods. And once I'd finished digesting that literature, probably 3 or 4 times each, I realized that something's amiss, you know, and it was patently obvious, and we're all trying to work out kind of what that is. And obviously, you've got the Robert Shocks, the Scrantons of the world, the Randall Carlsons, the Brad Klausens. They're all doing an amazing job trying to bring this to light. You know, I think to a certain extent we're almost denying ourselves quite a glorious chapter in human history and the human story, because something happened 13,000 years ago, which kind of brought everything to a grinding halt, and not a lot was left with the destruction of what happened at the end of the last ice age, and certain things obviously have survived. The world over, there's constructions, namely the pyramids, but inclusive of places like Tiwanaku, Teotihuacan, Pumapunku, Ollantaytambo, all these megalithic marvels that are scattered across the globe, that we'd have serious problems trying to reproduce even today. Yet we're still accrediting them to civilizations who don't really understand the beginnings or how these megalithic structures got there in the first place. They kind of inherited them per se, and we're myself included. We're trying to sort of join the dots, as it were, and it's becoming a little bit easier now, as I say, with the birth of the internet. It's we're slowly lifting the proverbial veil on a history lost.
That's right, and that's a good place to start. Well, let's take a break right here, and we'll continue this conversation when we come back. It's one of the most fascinating aspects of all of Egyptology and the history of the world. And we'll pick up where we left off. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, R.N. Vooght and his new book, The Spirit in the Sky, Ancient Cosmological Gods, and Where in the World We Can Find Them. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and David Wilcock. Join George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannaris, and another 50 speakers who will be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Just go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or click on the CLE banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, R.N. Vooght, and we're talking about his new book, The Spirit in the Sky, Ancient Cosmological Gods, and Where in the World We Find Them. R.N. is hopeful that Spirit in the Sky may one day prove a catalyst in uniting outer space with inner space and, of course, science with religion. Now, R.N., before the break, we were talking about that strange number, 12,000 BC, 11,000 BC, 12,000 BC, end of the last ice age. And what is interesting here, although this number proves consistent all around the world, and we've been looking more and more towards that, certainly in the last 10 to 15 years, 20 years, Fingerprint of the Gods, of course, but, and John Anthony West and Robert Schoch's work on the Great Sphinx. Now we have Göbekli Tepe, right? 10,000 BC construction there, 10,500, 11,000 BC. But now, within the last week, NASA did a press release on an asteroid impact in Greenland
that is has been hidden by the ice, but now apparently that's a 12,000 year impact crater. That changes everything, and it certainly validates what all of these researchers have been talking about. But just imagine if John Anthony West or Graham Hancock or Robert Schoch had this information, 10 years ago.
Certainly. They're describing it as a 10-mile wide crater. As you say, beneath the ice cap in Greenland. But I think it's probably better described as a proverbial smoking gun.
Yeah, absolutely. RN, can I ask you to lean forward closer to your microphone?
Sorry. Here we go. I think the comet impact certainly happened. There's no doubt about that now. It's been something that's been hypothesized for longer than a century or so. I think the first person that I can recall that first hypothesized this was a gentleman by the name of Ignatius Donahue in 1893 or 1894 with his book Ragnarok, Fire and Ice. Something that's been, I guess, cast aside and again labelled as hearsay, labelled as pseudoscience. But yeah, we've found the smoking gun, as it were, and I think that undoubtedly vindicates people like Graham Hancock, Mr. Donnelly himself, the large, extensive body of work that Randall Carlson has done on this subject as well. And I think it also validates Plato with regards to his tale of Atlantis as well. That seems to, something happened 9,700 BC by the word of Plato himself, that was handed down to him from Solon, I believe. And these core samples that are matching up all over the world now actually validate again this biblical flood myth. I say biblical, but it's a worldwide flood myth. It's just not throughout Christianity. It's not just a proverbial Noah's Ark story. No matter where you go across the globe, there's tales everywhere talking about this epic flood. And quite rightly, Randall Carlson points out that when this comet impact happened, first hypothesized, I believe, over the North American ice cap, the Laurentide ice sheet, which was some 2 miles thick, basically flash melted overnight, which caused a huge worldwide deluge and the rising of the sea levels across the globe by some 400 feet. There's something that Robert Schoch quite rightly points out with regards to Easter Island as well. It's a phenomenon, the island itself. No one can quite really work out what's going on there. There's, as I'm sure you know, there's some 900 Moai carvings scattered throughout the island. And 13 of those particular Moai carvings are actually carved out of basalt, and there's no basalt quarries on Easter Island, and it's something that Robert Schoch has hypothesized that maybe these quarries are now lying some 400 feet or so below current sea levels prior to the cataclysm that obviously melted this Laurentide ice sheet, which again in turn saw the sea levels rise overnight.
And there's another interesting aspect to all of this, because when you talk to a historian, they'll go, okay, well, Plato, okay, well, he talked about it, well, Atlantis is a myth, or there's this aspect. But they always have said, but there's no flood myth, there's no Atlantis stories with ancient Egypt. So why does everybody else talk about it except for them? And that is clearly not the case, because when we look at the EdFu text, it states that there was an island that disappeared, that's where their knowledge came from, and there is a flood myth to their history as well, as carved into the walls at EdFu.
Certainly, and I would say that it's not just that not only Atlantis that was lost. I'd say that there was a global civilization that was lost as well, and I think that we somewhat built this new world out of the ruins or upon the bones of what came before, and I think that that's painstakingly obvious now. And I think to a certain extent, to keep denying this, I think again we're doing ourselves an injustice with regards to human ingenuity. If I'm being honest, I think that to call ourselves at the apex of sophisticated and technological evolution in society today, at the very apex, I think is somewhat arrogant when we can't really understand how some of these megalithic marvels scattered across the globe have actually been constructed. They're modern day masterpieces still, and we accredit them to, I guess, master primitive builders of a bygone era, who don't really take the credit for building them themselves. Yet we still like to. I think it was.
Well, why do you think that is? Let me jump in there. Why do you think that is? The structures are there. We can see them, but nobody wants to take credit for it. There isn't. I find that fascinating.
I think if you want to take credit for it, you're stuck with the scenario of having to explain it, which is something that it's beyond my rationale. I've absolutely no idea. Although I've got a very good idea, it should not be accredited to the mainstream timeline of what we're being told. I think that's unfair to ourselves. I think we're doing ourselves some kind of prehistoric injustice, really.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason to suppress all of this information from us? It's a reason that I wrote the book, I guess. I think to a certain extent, I'll somewhat talk about the back page of the book, which I'll kind of digress to later on in our conversation. But I sincerely believe that the Egyptological ideal is fundamentally supporting a battle-weary blueprint for all world religion. I think that if, let's say, the proverbial cat is let out of the bag, I think that a lot of world religion has to fall somewhat by the wayside with it to a certain extent. I'm not saying that everyone, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to offend anybody in anyone's chosen belief system. But that said, I'm not saying that everyone's wrong for what they believe. I'm saying that they're fundamentally right, but maybe they don't know why, if that makes sense. Well, if it does make sense, which it does to me, we're talking about a major shift here in consciousness. Because let's stay right here. If what is revealed then takes away from or invalidates other world religions, whether it's Islam or Christianity, if that indeed collapses, then we lose control of this planet, and that would seem to me to be a good reason not to let this out.
I'm not sure it would cause the proverbial collapse of the planet. I think to a certain extent, if we stop kind of believing this, again, I don't want to offend everyone.
Well, no, that's all right. Look, here, let me help you out. If if the ancient Egyptian way of looking at things, consciousness, our brain, our world, what gods really are, of course, with the stars and everything, if that is indeed the case, then where does Christianity fit into this, or is it completely wrong? And if that comes out, which directly affects Islam, right? I think
it's completely wrong. Far from it. Again, it's for the same reason that I say it's not wrong. It's. I don't think people are understanding why it's. I guess fundamentally the same. I think every religion is basically the same thing, which all stems from ancient Egyptology. I mean, we can look at Christianity for argument's sake, and the God of resurrection in question would be Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ, from as far as my research goes, and a number of others, I think in today's society, we're basically practicing the same religion that was practiced with regards to resurrected gods, which was going on in ancient Egypt in a bygone era, lost to the historical record. I don't particularly think that there was. I don't think that there was a man called Jesus that was crucified. I don't think that there was an ancient Egyptian god of resurrection called Osiris that was murdered by his brother and rescued by his wife and his sister from inside a great tamarisk tree, and thus became synonymous with a constellation in the sky. I think that there's an underlying profound significance behind the mythology of all these resurrected gods and religions that actually is trying to describe more of what the human experience and consciousness is all about. I don't believe to a certain, I mean, there's no matter what religion you can cherry pick, I don't think that anyone's quite really got it right. I don't think there's any evidence that anyone can actually say that anyone's God.
Well, okay, but this is where it gets, and I've always thought about this, Richard, which is when we're talking about Horus and the resurrection and a virgin birth on Christmas Day and the three stars in the sky, the three kings, and suddenly Christianity has to take a look at this and go, wait a minute. I thought we were talking about who are we talking about here? Are we talking about Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, or are we talking about Isis and Osiris and Horus and that resurrection, which happened, 10,000 years before the time of Christ? That certainly is going to upset a few people, like half of the planet.
Certainly. But I think that these mythologies and these religions are actually they're layered. I'm not saying it's one thing or another. Obviously, with a lot of ancient Egyptian mythology, they believed in duality, and I think that there's a lot of duality that goes hand in hand with this. And if I can, I'd like to stick with the Christianity thing at the moment.
Sure.
I'm not too sure if you're aware of the research by a gentleman by the name of Bill Donahue. But if I can, instead of me completely butchering his work, I'd like to read or just quote Mr. Donahue with regards to the celestial cycles of the sun. And I'm spelling sun, S-U-N/S-O-N. Obviously, we have the sun in the sky and the Son of Christ.
That's right.
Bill Donahue's work, he actually describes the cosmos with regards to Jesus's career, he puts it, throughout the Bible. He starts off by saying in September, the 9th month of the calendar year, Virgo appears to correlate with the 9 months of pregnancy. The sun, by the trajectory of the earth, appears to be born out of the constellation of Virgo, the Virgin. Now, on the 11th month, the sun appears to pass through the constellation of the crux or the cross. Thus, the sun is crucified. In the winter solstice, the sun is said to sit in the tomb of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. And by December the 25th, the sun is hence reborn and begins to rise once again. 30 years after his birth, Jesus goes into the water of John the Baptist. And 30 days after the 25th of December, the sun appears within the constellation of Aquarius, the water bearer. As per the Bible still, Jesus then leaves John and selects his disciples from the fishermen, and thus the sun moves into the constellation of Pisces. Jesus is then hailed as the Lamb of God and takes away the sins of the world, just as the sun moves into the sign of the Lamb, Aries, which takes away the cold of winter. Our sun then sits at the right-hand side of the Father, and in the northern hemisphere, the sun moves to the right-hand side of the eastern sky, and thus we have our summer. Jesus then concludes his biblical career, but as the Lion of Judah, as the sun also continues its journey in August through the constellation of Leo, the Lion. So we can see there that this biblical text is either describing, one profound man's life story, I guess, or we can look at it and actually take it for something that we can actually witness ourselves with our own naked eyes, with regards to the cycles of what's going on in the cosmos. And I think that there's something very profound going on in the Bible and other religious texts, as opposed to, and I hate to sort of put it into this kind of context about offending people again, but I find it hard to believe that without any trace evidence, other than the evidence that we've got of what's going on with these celestial cycles in the cosmos, that there was actually, we're being kind of not overruled, but overseen by a bearded gentleman on a cloud, surrounded by angels. And I don't think it really makes a lot of sense. I think we're kind of going hook, line, and sinker for the proverbial comic book version of a scientific blueprint for what's actually going on.
It's not certainly Christianity is based on everything that you just described, and we understand that, and we can get all the metaphors out of it. The crux, right? The Southern Cross, everything comes into play, right? And it just fits into the story, and it's just like, wow, okay, so it was just there in the stars the whole time. Well, okay, there's that part, but Christianity isn't the only one to base their religion, if it was on the stars and it was cosmological, like you're stating here, but everybody, and certainly the ancient Egyptians. We can go to the Far East and the Far West. Everything was based on the same star patterns.
Sure. Which is where my research comes into it as well. If I may, again, be so bold, just instead of me butchering my own hypothesis, to kind of give the listeners a bit more of an idea of which direction this is heading tonight with regards to furthering our discussion, I'd like to maybe read the back page of the book once again with regards to Osiris and what this actually means for religion.
Absolutely.
Mythology. Okay, so the spirit in the sky basically untangles a scientifically profound mythology surrounding ancient Egyptian god of resurrection, Osiris. Now, Osiris is traditionally depicted as the celestial hunter of the heavens who is immortalized on a macrocosmic scale as the constellation of Orion. Osiris, however, is also considered as the complete embodiment of all things acacia, an abundant botanical variety known for highly extractable potentials of the world's most illicit God-inducing psychoactive entheogen compound, which is also found in the human brain. It's a mouthful, I know, and I apologize. But dubbed the spirit molecule, N-dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT, is also the key ingredient of an ancient shamanic Amazon intoxicant known as ayahuasca, and thus is described as the vine of souls. Moreover, the molecular structure of this microscopic fingerprint of this nirvana-like state of God-induced perception is also a comprehensive match for the constellation of Orion. Now, what I'm putting to...
Actually, let me stop you right there, because that's a very important point, and it's also the cover of the book. So when you state that, go ahead and describe to the audience what you're referring to.
Okay. Maybe we need a little bit of a backstory for this, to be fair, which I can go into afterwards, and I'd love to. But basically, the god of resurrection, Osiris, has been... I'll talk about his mythology in a moment and why it makes a lot more sense to have this scientific outlook as to what this mythology is trying to explain to a scientifically savvy society like ourselves, I guess. What on earth is actually going on? basically the Osiris, as I've just forementioned, is remembered as the constellation of Orion after being murdered by his brother. Prior to that, he was trapped inside, and I will get to this. Excuse me for butchering my hypothesis, but he was actually at a point in time tricked into getting into a wonderfully ornate coffer by his wicked brother Seth and cast into the River Nile, where he basically he was set adrift for a number of days until the coffer that he was tricked into getting into was actually run aground on the banks of Byblos, modern day Lebanon. Now, his wife and his sister Isis learnt of his untimely fate and bargained with the king of Byblos to set him free. After a great tamarisk tree had actually grown around this coffer on the banks of Byblos. Now, we can either take that as read that this ancient Egyptian god had indeed been tricked by his brother and set adrift. A great tamarisk tree grown around him, and his wife found him and rescued him from within this great tamarisk tree, where his brother then murdered him for a second time, hence the resurrection, whereby he became a constellation in the night sky, forever immortalized as the macroscopic depiction of the celestial hunter of the heavens, Orion. But the nuts and bolts of this come down to what is described as the lifeblood of Osiris. Osiris is obviously it's not obvious, but he's synonymous with not only being known as the macrocosmic constellation of Orion, but is also forever remembered as the complete embodiment of all things acacia. And as I stated on the back page of the book, the acacia variety is known for highly extractable potentials of a psychoactive chemical compound that's found in the human brain and secreted quite possibly by the pineal gland also, which is known as N-dimethyltryptamine, DMT. Now, the molecular structure of DMT is a microscopic match for the constellation of Orion, hence the tree of life, where Osiris was, I guess, entombed until he was rescued by his wife. This lifeblood of the acacia variety, or the sap of the acacia, within that particular lifeblood or sap, we do find, we find something rather profound. There's a joke in here somewhere, I'm sure there is, with it being a carbon copy when we're talking about stars, but the molecular structure of this God-inducing entheogen compound is a carbon copy, pretty much, of this macroscopic namesake in the sky, as above, so below.
Now, I've just posted it up in Twitter for everybody. There it is. That's Orion on the left and DMT on the right. And with that, RN, let's take a quick break right here. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back when we're going to keep it going where we're leaving off. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carlson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. I'm your host. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm just watching RN. As I get on the air, he gets up and walks away. Hears my voice, turns around and comes back, sits down, starts laughing. That's what I'm talking about. Great conversation tonight. Now check this out, RN. So I've studied this for years, and I just grabbed this really quick. How many gods were born to a virgin mother on December 25th? Right. I just wanted to, so we have Krishna, right? Mithra, Horus, Buddha, Badu, Quetzalcoatl, Hercules, Attis, Tammuz, and Osiris, right? It's just like, wait a minute here. And so we just started to talk about DMT, the pineal gland, which is a naturally occurring. Yeah, okay, there's ayahuasca, but we live with it too as well. And the fact that we have all of this cosmology going on up in the sky that all tells the same story. That's where we are at, really, with this, aren't we?
Sure, no doubt. In fact, it was when I was actually when I was actually researching this hypothesis, I'd like to sort of come back round to this in a moment, if I may.
Sure.
And digress back to it. But it was actually when I was studying some of Scranton's work with regards to the Dogon and their ancient or mythological tree of life as well, I actually stumbled upon a documentary called The Spirit Molecule, presented by Joe Rogan, which was, in a nutshell, to do with Dr. Rick Strassman's studies of the pineal gland in the 1990s from New Mexico University. And his study was extremely revealing, to say the very least. It actually transpires the guys that were, I guess, being induced with this spirit molecule, DMT, unlike LSD or psilocybin mushrooms, when intoxicated, I don't think it was like the shamanic ayahuasca ceremony or freebase DMT. I think it was through like intravenous. It was actually injected into the participants of this particular study. But the participants of this particular study were all coming back reporting, as I say, unlike LSD or psilocybin, misadventures in different places.
Right.
Seeing different things. These guys were all seeing pretty much the same thing, and not so much disappearing. I mean, it's been described as having your consciousness somewhat smeared across the cosmos, and it's an out-of-body experience whereby I don't think that the human language has actually evolved enough to actually describe what is actually being seen on this proverbial other side.
No, I think you're right. Right. Yep. I think you're 100% right. And the other part, I want you to continue, but their experiences not only have been remarkably similar. There's that part of it, but the other side of it clearly suggests that they are entering another dimension that is not our own, and it's also very, very consistent.
Sure. No, very, very much so. Very much so. And I had that outlook for quite a long time with regards to the Spirit Molecule documentary and everything that they're in with regards to this otherworldly phenomenon of whether it's interdimensional, whether it's a different realm, whether we're having our consciousness sucked out of our body and jettisoned across the cosmos to another time or plane. It's as unfeasible as it sounds. It sounds somewhat feasible with regards to these, I guess, rabbis, teachers, named guys with, and not just an everyday Joe that's sitting there on their PlayStation smoking pot and just meeting aliens, I guess. Right. These are professional people, that are all reporting on the same sort of thing, and I had an underlying impression that was exactly what was going on, that the consciousness was for unknown reasons that we're yet to kind of work out. I mean, no one's really studying this as intensely as maybe they should be. But I'm now uncertain that the consciousness is actually being. I don't think it's really being ejected into the ether. Or to another dimension or another plane of existence entirely. Very, very recently, I come across the work by a gentleman by the name of Dick Kahn, whose book DMT and My Occult Mind has opened up another channel of investigation with regards to what this could purportedly actually be actually going on here. As you may well know, the ocular cavities or the bandwidth of the human eye is only in tune to something ridiculous like 0.08% of the bandwidth of what's actually out there. As you know, bats and cats and night vision and what have you, there's different ranges of ocular capacities throughout the animal kingdom that we don't really have an idea of what's going on. We can't actually see what's really in front of us, but it would appear that from going back to Dick Kahn's research, that maybe the consciousness isn't being I keep saying smeared across the cosmos and ejected into some ulterior plane. But maybe it's actually hardwiring the pineal gland to actually tune into the other proverbial 96% of what we don't actually know is actually out there. And I say 96% because the nuts and bolts of what we understand of fundamental reality and matter is a mere 4%.
Or less, yes.
Enlightened.
And you know what else is fascinating with that is we have accepted, and I'm talking about a large chunk of this planet. It doesn't matter if you're Hindu, Buddha, Christian, Islam, or any other religion for that matter. It doesn't that we have accepted other realities, a heaven, a hell, another dimension, interdimensional beings, voices being channeled. We don't have any issues with that, right? So where does this actually come from? From an ancient mindset, right? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, where they are talking about these other realms. Well, it's because they've been there, right?
Yeah. And some. And to be fair, I'm not even certain that the ancient Egyptians really understood it in its entirety, what this was all about, I think that they've inherited something that was lost pre-cataclysm, and they've remembered it
or taught it, or they were taught it.
Well, sure, why not? I think Laird Scranton discusses this with regards to his research on the ancient Dogon tribe. If I can, I'll talk to you, a little bit about the Dogon and what Laird Scranton's work was all about. Excuse me. Basically, the groundbreaking works of linguist and ancient cosmologist Laird Scranton, and mainly his work with the primitive modern-day tribe known as the Dogon. His work, I think the book was called Science of the Dogon.
That's right.
There's about 8 or 9 different publications, and each one is even more groundbreaking than the next, to be fair. But if I can quote him just to kind of, set the scene, as it were. He basically states that the correlations between Dogon myths and science begin with explicit statements by the Dogon priests, which establish the esoteric tradition of the Dogon is specifically understood to describe the underlying processes by which matter and life were formed. Details of these processes then play out in parallel with modern-day scientific theory, matching the components and component processes of myth with those of science. Yet this kind of direct correlation with known facts taken in any other context than that of ancient myth should surely be accepted as a positive statement of real knowledge.
Well, and they demonstrated that, too, through all of their symbology, which was consistent to atomic level construction of not only atoms and what they consisted of, but that same symbology crossed over into Egypt and other cultures around the world, too. Where does the knowledge of what is on the inside of an atom come from? From an ancient tribe like the Dogons.
Sure, and it's it's something that I can't explain.
Right.
It's something everyone's having a real hard time explaining, so it kind of gets shelved as pseudoscience and mythology, which again is doing ourselves a profound injustice to where we've been, And I'll go back to the Bible again. They say there's nothing new under the sun, and I'm pretty sure that I guess this is what we're introducing ourselves to today with the subatomic realms of these excuse me, these higher sciences. I think that we're rediscovering something that we've discovered a long time ago, and it only makes sense as well that we should remember, if indeed this has played out before, that if we've actually cracked what this whole riddle of consciousness is all about, if we actually understand the biomechanics of the human brain and what it means to be human and the potential realms of whether it's out-of-body experience or whether it's reincarnation, it's where we've come from, it's where we're going, I think these are channels that need to be explained and researched a whole lot more, as opposed to just getting that same juxtaposition where we're constantly being laughed at for bringing up these hypotheses. You know, there's something underlying here, and it's extreme, as I keep saying, but it is extremely profound. Either we can believe, I guess, the nuts and bolts of what these Dogon traditions or ancient Egyptian traditions or even esoteric Freemason traditions are all talking about. We can either cloak that as occult and hoodoo, out of bounds, laughable pseudoscience, and continue to believe in, I guess, which is becoming, I've said it earlier on, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it's almost like a comic book version of an underlying scientific blueprint to actually what is going on and what we're trying to be told here, you know?
Well, are you suggesting, RN, let me go back to what you were talking about earlier. Are you suggesting that there was indeed a higher pre-cataclysmic, high technology civilization that was nearly wiped out, that turned and migrated into not only Egyptian culture, Dogon culture, South American and Far East cultures, where this knowledge was just shared with everybody around the world? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, certainly. And it's not just myself either. Obviously, going back to the names of your Scrantons, Carlsons, Wests, Klausens, Hancocks, they're all saying the same thing. And it's the more you look into this, the more obvious it becomes.
Well, the skeptic will say, and I would love to hear your answer for this. The skeptic is going to say that you're not giving enough credit to Stone Age man, that they knew how to carve these stones. They knew how to place them at 10,000 BC. They knew how to quarry. They knew about fine art. They knew about the stars, and they studied this, and that's what it was. It wasn't anything crazy or phantasmic with some high technological society that was running around before the Ice Age.
And these guys are still stumped on how these megalithic masterpieces, I guess,
right,
were actually engineered, let alone transported and constructed with phenomenal precision, with not just with the stars, but with one another across the globe. You know.
Well, with the Great Pyramid, that's one thing. We can question the dating on that. I think it's 50,000 years old. You know, I don't think it was 2,500 BC, but. We don't know the dating of it, right? We don't have anything definitive. But Göbekli Tepe, we do. Okay, now we've got carbon dating there that says clearly, without question, 10,500 BC and older. Now, wait a minute here. Göbekli Tepe wasn't supposed to exist. You would think that would shut the skeptics up. It hasn't. Why is that?
I think that there's, without wanting to, I'll offend them.
No, you're not going to.
I think there's a lot of old men in very expensive buildings that are basically scared of their life work being not for nothing, but it's like if it's not broke, why fix it? But they can't see that this historical timeline is broke. Something most definitely came before. I mean, I'd like to quote from my book again, if I may be so bold. If you can consider this, if you will. I mean, what if I told you that history is merely 50 or so lives long? What do I mean by this? Now, if you can let me explain. Documented history, that is the earliest chronologies of civilized society, being that of ancient Sumerians in Mesopotamia and the early dynastic Egyptian counterparts. They're historically dated as emerging separate of one another sometime around 3,500 BC. Yet it wasn't until the meteoric and unexplained rise, and then the peculiarly sudden and almost illogical decline regarding technological know-how, and that a writing system was introduced around 3,100 BC. So 3,100 BC, then, we can effectively state that we have a starting point or a fixed point of reference. Now, what do I mean by 50 lives long? Now, the average human life expectancy in living in the modern era is around some 72 years or so. And it's not uncommon for us to exceed 100 years. Now, with this in mind, if we endeavoured to measure recorded history against the life cycles of human beings, equated to that of 100 years, and in fact, each lifetime was in fact lived out back to back. That is to say, a man or woman is born, lives 100 years, dies, and then another man or woman is born, and the cycle's repeated. From our starting point of reference, 3100 BC to 2018, we find that the documented human story is a fascinatingly mere 51 lifetimes long. That's absolutely staggering as far as I'm concerned, and we can shorten that as well with regards to the advent or the time of Christ. If we do that, then the timeline or the chronology of history is only 21 lifetimes long. Something's clearly missing, you know. Randall Carlson, I'd like to bring up, suggests the following analogy for this as well. If we equate the timeline of modern anatomical human beings of 180,000 years or so, and documented history of, say, the last 5,000 years and create a hypothetical yardstick from which to measure, what becomes glaringly apparent is that for every inch of our 36-inch yardstick is the equivalent of 5,000 years, only one of which accounts for the entire catalogue of recorded history.
Right.
Where's the rest?
That's exactly right. I've thought about this so much. The problem that the academics have with this, when you look at it, is now we're talking about hard numbers. And when you talk about hard numbers and the evidence clearly says one thing, but they are asking us to accept another, and they don't have the best way that I can put it. They don't have evidence on their side. All we do is present more evidence. We present something else. We hear, and their answer is no. You know, that's the answer. The answer is, well, no, you've got it wrong. What do you mean? You know, we've got it wrong. The one thing that we have going for us right now that we've never had before in history is, you just pointed it out, 3,500 BC is the magic number, right? 3,000 BC. We have ancient Samaria. We have ancient Egypt. 3,000 BC, everything falls into place after that. The schools will tell you that is the beginning of everything, 3,000 BC, right? There it is. Well, wait a minute. 7,000 years before that, 7,000 years, Göbekli Tepe is built. It wasn't supposed to exist. They don't have an answer for that. And all we do is present more and more hard facts. And that's the problem that I have. You can give them all the numbers, but they're just going to say no. And that's the answer.
And that was covered over as well, I believe.
It was deliberately covered over. Now, we're going to head towards a break right here. Deliberately covered. Why was it covered? We have a few different possibilities here. Mine is that they knew that a cataclysmic, world-changing event was about to happen. They had warning of it. They covered it up to save it for us. That's what I think. Why do you think it was covered up?
I think you've basically got the money shot there. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think there's no other rhyme or reason to actually do so. It's like a preservation society, you know. Yeah, and it doesn't stand alone either. I mean, if we're talking about the impending cataclysm, which quite clearly happened, obviously going back to the Greenland crater now, we know something happened, and when the top side, it's going to be quite hellish, you know, the fallout from such a celestial bombardment, let's say. Top side isn't going to be great for living. It's not going to be very inhabitable, no matter where you are, no matter what your locale is on the face of this beautiful pale blue rock. But we're still, where do you go when the top side is, let's say, uninhabitable because of the fallout, because of this cataclysm? You go to ground, and I'm pretty sure you're aware with what's being uncovered throughout the rest of Turkey, and indeed a lot of Europe now as well. We talk about Cappadocia and the underground bunker-like complexes that are cut into sheer bedrock. One that I discuss in my book is called Derinkuyu, which basically has some 12 subterranean levels, as I say, that are dug into bedrock, that not only have ventilation systems, running water, X, Y, Z, they have enough, I guess, space and occupying facilities down there to house in extent of some 20,000 people. And it doesn't stand alone either. There's some 200 of these subterranean bunker-like accommodations that are popping up, not just in Europe, but all over the world. There's mythologies about it being part of the Inca Maya mythology. They haven't, don't get me wrong, they haven't yet been excavated, let's say, but the ones in Cappadocia and Derinkuyu in Turkey are absolutely breathtaking. And I think it's somewhat dismissive to go again with the mainstream madness, which basically says, they were hunter-gatherers. They dug these complexes into the ground so they could hide from invaders and conquerors from a bygone age. It's like, come on, what? Do you understand how long it takes to actually build something like this? And where's the logic? If someone's hiding underground, what do you want to do? You're just going to wait them out. They're going to starve. It makes no sense whatsoever, other than, I guess, topside is uninhabitable, and we know that it was now some 13,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age.
And one of the most fascinating things about that structure is the rolling doors, the round doors that could roll into place, that are just ginormous and huge. It's ingenious ingenuity, actually.
It beggars belief. It actually beggars belief. Coming away from that slightly, but with regards to the ingenuity and the size of the rocks and the cumbersome, whether it's the quarry and the stonemasonry or however you want to describe it. But I guess the bells and whistles, the razzmatazz kind of picture postcard, let's go to Egypt, is all because of the Great Pyramids. And as fantastic and as profound and significantly mind-blowing as they are, when you realize that they're not just tombs. A few miles south of there, in Saqqara, we've got what's known as the Serapeum, and I'm sure you know all about that. I mean, these wonderfully carved granite. They're saying that they're like bulls' coffins, bulls' caskets for burial ceremonies that are again cut into and transported into the bedrock below the plateau. It absolutely beggars belief. And I bring some of my research to my father. My father's actually in the construction trade with diamond drilling. And when I'm showing him things with regards to things like the Serapeum and some of the groundbreaking work of Christopher Dunn that you had on the show very recently, again, 2 and 2 doesn't make 5. We can't reconstruct this ingenuity today. It's beyond it. Yeah, we're still saying that the proverbial copper chisels and stone wielding work gangs were carving these some 3,500 years ago.
That's right. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, R.N. Vooght. We're talking about his new book, The Spirit in the Sky. More when we come back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal God on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com, dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, R.N. Vooght, live from the UK, talking about his new book, Spirit in the Sky. And what I would like to do, Aaron, I want to go back, and one of the things that we touched upon, which I think is not only one of the most important points in your book, but in general, when we talk about the history of us and where we came from, and the questions that we always ask ourselves, where do we come from? How do we get here? What are we doing here? And what happens after we die? Well, when we talk about all of this, I'm going to hold up to the camera here for everybody to see. But that is, the Eye of Ra, and how it quite possibly represents the pineal gland. And that the ancient Egyptians clearly had knowledge of this, and what the importance of the third eye was to us, and the Eye of Horus, or however you want to present this. But DMT and the question of what this represented into another dimension, and all of this, the God particles.
Right. Yeah, the Chura plexus is, again, it's another comprehensive match for the Eye of Ra. Either it's a sacred talisman, which we're told through Egyptology. But again, I don't think the Egyptological ideal is doing us justice with regards to what's trying to actually be delivered to us here. I think there's another far more scientific blueprint for what these talismans are actually representing.
Yeah. Well, and I guess my question is, were the ancient Egyptians experiencing psychedelic drugs, either naturally, or did they figure the compounds out, and quite possibly explore this? It's a great question, Jimmy. It's one that I think anyone's going to have a hard time answering. We know that they ingested the psychoactive blue lotus, which Graham Hancock has done a lot of research on and publicised. But with regards to, there's a lot of hearsay, don't get me wrong. But again, I think what is going on throughout ancient Egypt, I think that they may well be doing what I believe we're doing today. I don't think they're reading the instruction manual correctly, if that makes any sense. I think they're still depicting gods of resurrection like we are today, and running away with it, and not really remembering the nuts and bolts of what it was fundamentally all about. If I haven't completely butchered that. No, you haven't. But what I find interesting here, and certainly Brad Klausen talks about it too as well. And Brad is an artist that we've had on this show that has studied the symbology here of what is going on. And when you look at the brainstem, and you look at the pineal gland, and you think about what it actually represents chemically, to what is going on, to the Christ consciousness and the symbology of all other world religions that are out there. They knew something, and we're going back thousands of years here before Christ.
And it's a great point that you say Christ consciousness as well, because with regard to, what a wonderfully inquisitive mind Brad Klausen's got. It's like a knowledge bomb every time you find out what this guy's uncovering. But when I saw his representation of basically not a cross section but a posterior view of the human brainstem, and that of Jesus Christ's crucifixion, the commonalities are simply undeniable. They are absolutely undeniable. And I talk about Christ consciousness which is something that you touched on yourself. But the correlations come thick and fast with regards to Brad's work as well. Jesus's legs on the crucifix correspond with the brainstem. His loincloth are the cerebral peduncles, and the corpora. I'm going to butcher some of these terminologies because, again, I don't claim to be a scientist, a physicist, or any of the above. I'm a researcher and writer. But the pineal gland, with regards to the posterior view of the human brainstem, correlates directly with Christ's head on the proverbial Christ's crucifixion. Now, what I find extremely enlightening with regards to exactly what you said, the Christ consciousness, there's something going on here that may have been overlooked as well. Going back to the strain of acacia that has these highly extractable potentials of this chemical compound that we've got in our brain, DMT. It's known throughout Christianity that Christ was meant to have worn this crown of thorns.
That's right.
During his crucifixion. Now, this crown of thorns, we find that the acacia variety is a particularly thorny and barbed variety. And where that's actually placed on his head, I think that's another, I guess, fingerprint of the gods, kind of pointing in the direction to say, look what's going on here. It's not just the brainstem and the crucified Christ correlate. There's actually a scientific element here. Should we look a little bit deeper, we can say, boy, that crown of thorns hurt. What's the significance of that? I mean, biblical terms I couldn't explain, but on a scientific plane, going back to the Christ consciousness, we're talking about quite a possible precursor for human consciousness being this naturally endogenous chemical compound secreted from the pineal gland in the brain that we also find throughout the natural botanical world and the animal world, which is found, ironically, in acacia, this crown of thorns.
Now, do you think it's possible? Now, this is where we're going to reach a little bit, but do you think it's possible that the secretion of DMT through the pineal gland with the ancients started to tap into this, and they start to put things together with the stars, with the rising and the falling of the sun each day, each night, and they start to see through this in 3D and start to put their gods together. Is this where all of this is leading?
It's an interesting concept, one that I haven't actually spent much time thinking about, in all honesty. But I think that they started an understanding of the significance of the human brain and how we're hardwired to actually use or respond to these chemicals that are supposedly off limits. The endocrine system of the human brain, which is something that Dr. Strassman's work with regards to the spirit molecule was explained is basically what I believe someone not in ancient Egypt but prior to this cataclysm had a profound understanding of. And I think it's something that someone like Dr. Strassman is uncovering again, that's been lost to us. And I think that the knowledge that had been accumulated in yesteryear, I think that if we found this today and this hadn't played out before, and we had an impending cataclysm coming, I mean, we know that this celestial bombardment, this fallout 12,000 years ago happened, and it will happen again. Of that, there is no doubt. But I believe that if we knew that our impending civilization was about to come to pretty much an abrupt end like it did in yesteryear, I think that the accumulated knowledge what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I think that as a species, we would want to preserve this knowledge and try and hand it down to technologically and scientifically, if not spiritually savvy society that might rise out of the ashes of what once was, you know?
Well, and what I'm suggesting here is that through different psychoactive, and we're specifically talking about DMT here, where you are introduced to another dimension, possibly another parallel world, also out into the universe. The zodiac, Aquarius, Pisces, Libra, Virgo, all of these things, Leo, are all the same. And it can go back to Göbekli Tepe. It's certainly in Dendera, all the way to Greece and Rome, where everybody was seeing the same thing in the skies. And all of the god myths that have been talked about over millennia are all the same. And I think it all goes back to the pineal gland and how it was represented through all of the symbology. There's something consistent here with all of this. Not everybody could have been born from a virgin mother on December 25th.
Right. I think you're hard on the money again. I think you've hit the nail on the head once again. But I think a wonderful way of preserving this information is with mythological metaphors and allegories that are kind of almost like a breadcrumb kind of situation for a scientifically savvy society to actually follow these breadcrumbs and actually work out exactly what's going on, or again believe that gods were actually rescued from inside trees or sit on clouds and throw down thunderbolts and return on winged horses. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to in my mind to keep kidding ourselves that these gods were actually real people that walked the earth. I think that there's another underlying scientific blueprint for exactly what's going on here. Especially when DMT, not only is it secreted in the human brain, it's also found in our spine, spinal fluid. It's found in our lungs. A great variety of botanical varieties across the globe, and throughout the animal kingdom as well.
I wanted to ask you. We talk about Osiris a lot. Is there a specific origin for the word, for the name? Which is interesting in itself. There is? Okay.
I love dissecting etymologies of words, and Osiris itself, OS has got a plethora of meanings. And the two most revealing for myself in a medical dictionary is known as an opening, or to open. Another description for Os or OS is a godlike deity. Iris, it doesn't take a lot of explanation, we're talking about an open eye. And again, we can go back to the pineal gland as well, which for all. I'm trying to not get ahead of myself explaining this, but Dr. Rick Strassman, it was his enlightened mind with regards to the spirit molecule and what he's basically showing the world what this, the profoundness of what this third eye actually means. It's quite jaw dropping.
Well, where do you think?
What was the original question, Jimmy? I do apologize.
The etymology of Osiris.
Right.
And so, as we start to close out here, and I do want to thank you for all of this tonight and the book. But where do you think ultimately this is leading us? Do you think the Egyptologists of the world are going to back up and finally say, okay, We need to take another look at this. I don't think it's going to go as far as we've got it all wrong. Let's rewrite everything. But where ultimately do you think this is going to take us?
Again, I don't think that we've got it all wrong. I think we've got it right, but we don't really know why. And I think that there's a lot of, again, just sort of digressing back to pineal gland and Strassman's work. It was Strassman's mind that what basically got him to start studying the significance of what was going on with this mystical third eye that's remembered throughout, not just Egyptology, but with the Vedic, the Vedas, the Hindus, the Babylonians, the Mayans, the Aztecs. The list is as long as your arm. But what he discovered was that the pineal gland actually appears in the human embryo after 49 days of gestation, and it's also after 49 days of, that the fetus actually decides its sexual preference, male or female. Now, Strassman realised that the Tibetan Book of the Dead describes the soul of the deceased being incarnated from one soul to another over a period of 49 days, which it's quite coincidental, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the Tibetan Book of the Dead's talking about Buddhism, but we can go back to Christianity now. If Christ was indeed crucified on Easter, that's like a day of remembrance for what supposedly happened 2,000 years ago. Excuse me. But there's another known celebration, festival, or holiday throughout Christianity that actually takes place 49 days later as well, known as Pentecost, or Whitsunday, which basically describes how the Spirit of Christ descended from above to Christ's 12 apostles, which is significant in itself because we're talking about this spirit molecule again, somewhat descending from the sky, and there's 12 apostles. These 12 apostles go back to Bill Donahue's work. He talks about the 12 cranial nerves that actually attach the human spinal cord to the brainstem. There's actually 12 of them, which again in turn spike Christ. To cut a long story short, switch on this Christ consciousness and hardwire us to the human experience. It's there's a number of religions that everything kind of correlates. Or again, we can go back to the resurrected gods and believe this. It's not a fairy tale, but it's like a comic book version of what's actually trying to be explained to what's actually going on here.
Well, you have to look at it that way, too, in that because over thousands of years, this story has been told and over again and refined. By the time we start to get into the modern sense of the world, which is, around year zero, 100 AD, it had to get refined. And that's exactly what they did with it. I mean, they didn't have a choice. So it would turn into a comic book version, I even hate to say that, of the story because it's been told so many times.
Yeah, and it's another little bit of history repeating. I mean, I was discussing Brad Clausen's work as well with the posterior view of the human brainstem and the correlations that go hand in hand with Christ crucified. If you actually look at the bust of the ancient Egyptian god of resurrection, Osiris, as well, the same posterior view of the human brainstem also correlates with the eye of Horus, which is the true eye plexus. The headdress that Osiris wears correlates with the brainstem's thalamus. The pineal gland, this is the sun disk and the serpent. We've also got the crook and flower, which it beggars belief. I mean, the crook and flower are the cerebral peduncles. It's obvious once you see it hand in hand. I stumbled across some work. I forget the researcher's name, and I do apologise for this. But if we actually look at an underside cross section as well of the human brain and brainstem, we actually witness what is only describable as the ancient Hindu deity Ganesha, which is the god of wisdom and intellect. It's a brain function again,
Yeah, well, when you look at it, once you see the artwork or the representation side by side, there's just no question about what you are actually seeing here. I mean, it is.
There was an elephant-headed deity walking around, giving out wisdom. Don't get me wrong, that may have happened, but I highly doubt it. I mean, again, referencing the comic book version, that's kind of what we're doing here with elephant head deities, and you touched on it earlier on as well with regards to what's going on in ancient Egypt. If we look at the headdress of Hathor, we can actually, I think that Egyptology is slowly coming around to this one as well, but Hathor, basically a headdress, pretty much dictates the reproductive system of the female anatomy, and that's patently obvious once you look at it.
Yeah, I feel sorry in a weird way for Brad Klausen. I even told him this. He can't help himself now. Everything that he sees, everything that he looks at, he is making connections with. I mean, he is just,
it's unbelievable.
He's condemned.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
When I saw his work from Magical Egypt, episode 2, I mean, putting this together myself, I thought some of it was so profound, it was unbelievable. And trying to kind of put it into a nutshell and describe it over a couple of hours is very, very hard to do. But seeing what Brad Klausen's doing now as well, we see some of the old, if not the single oldest sculptures known to man, the Venus of Willendorf or the Venus of Hollofels. We're told that are fertility goddesses with wild childbearing hips and what have you. It doesn't, I mean, to a certain extent, that you can see that, but that is almost the classic case of pareidolia. We're actually being told that that's a fertile female. Or we can look at Brad Klausen's work and actually say, my word, that's nigh on carbon copy for the nuts and bolts of the human brainstem and endocrine system. That holds a lot more weight than a fertility goddess.
There's no question about it. And so, Richard, thank you for the conversation tonight. It was just amazing. Where can everybody
get the conversation? It's been an absolute blast.
Where can everybody get the book? Amazon.com,
Amazon UK. And I do apologise if I seemed a little bit sort of holding back information. Only my latest book that's actually going to be coming out beginning of next year as well. There's a lot more correlations that go hand in hand with this that I don't really want to publicise too much until I've obviously got the work out there. But there's so much more to come. It's unbelievable. The original work itself was initially some 350, 400 pages long, but due to the delicate nature of what I'm actually researching and writing about, it's hard to find a publisher. So I've gone down the self-publishing route and had to pretty much exercise some 250 pages from the original manuscript, which is a bit of a shame, but it was going to be quite hard to try and convince people to buy a book that was going to cost in excess of $35.
Yeah, right. And we all understand that.
Sure. But there's a lot more to come. And the majority of this as well, don't get me wrong, I'd like to say a big thank you as well to the people that have made this possible, really, obviously like yourselves, pushing this stuff out there. But without these heavyweights of this particular genre of research, the majority of what I've compiled is literally on the shoulders of the giants like the Hancocks and Klausens and Strassmans of the world. And Graham Hancock, I'd like to say a particular thank you to as well, for actually giving me the honour of actually putting his book and promoting it on his website as author of the month of December 2017. So it's nice to know, that the support's out there as well. And it's appreciated. And thank you again, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. And the links for everything are up over at jimmychurchradio.com. I look forward to the new book coming out, and I can't wait to have another conversation, Richard. Thank you so much.
I look forward. Thank you very much indeed. All the best. Happy festivities.
Yeah, you too. R.N. Vooght. And the book again, Spirit in the Sky, Ancient Cosmological Gods, and Where in the World we find them. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black, and I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
You are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi folks, CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black, R.N. Vooght. The book, Spirit in the Sky, is available on Amazon. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can just click and take you straight there. Wonderful conversation tonight. And I'm opening up the phone lines right now, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. Let me click on a couple of things right here. Boom. And the video feed went down, and it was during the break, and I spun around, and I saw that we lost the video feed. So it's just been stopped. I'm not going to restart it. Okay, so there you go. I'm opening up the phone lines. I'm lining up a few calls right now. And the thing is, if you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to everybody. We have one segment left. The more that we look, and this is what is important about Richard's book here, is the more that we look at all of this. And it's not any one thing. It's not what's carved into walls. It's not stories. It's not papyrus. It's not, cave paintings. It's not artwork. It's not the mythology. It's not the stories that have been had. It's not any of that. It's all of it. And the more that we compile and we look, and the symbology and the way that all of this fits together, to say that the ancients were on top of their game, it pales into what is the reality of it. There is something to all of this, and there is no way that I am ever going to be convinced or told that Stone Age man was responsible for this, or that they could pull this off. No, that it's simply not the case, and the evidence is mounting. It is just piling up. I mean, it's one of the most fascinating parts about all of this. I had said earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, when I went on the whole "we don't know nothing" rant. The more that we learn today. And it's the more that we learn, it's piling up, the less that we know. And then we take what we have acquired today and we look at that and just go back a few thousand years and look at what the ancients knew. Look what they were building. Look at the math. Look at the cosmology. Just think about what they knew back then. It's an unbelievable situation we find ourselves in. All right, let's go to area code 571. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live. All right. Let's go to area code 830. You're up next on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy. This is Neil.
Hey, Neil.
I was listening. A lot of people, you don't understand about the history of the Earth. When the dinosaurs was destroyed like 2 million years ago, they had giant humans walking upon the Earth.
What do you mean the dinosaurs were 2 million years ago? You mean 65 million years ago?
I thought it was 2 billion, or when they were destroyed.
No,
when they were destroyed.
65 million is.
Yeah, they lived like for 2 billion years on the Earth.
Okay.
Something like that.
But you're saying humans walked with. You're saying humans walked with the dinosaurs, Neil.
Of course.
And
we have evidence of some mud of human feet. When the dinosaurs turned into stone, their tracks were turned into stone too. They have stuff on the internet where you could see a human being. He's just turned into stone. You could see it. There's a lot of evidence out there.
Okay, and why do you bring that up though?
Well, the thing is, the people, y'all talk about history of the human race. Y'all acting like we're just 20,000 years old, and it's like, golly, man, that's so crazy, And no one's talking about how old the human race is. We're billions of years old,
You think that humans are billions of years old?
Of course. We used to build spaceships. Okay. When the war happened, I'm going to tell you what happened. I know what happened. When you take over a planet, you make a slave planet. You take all technology, you wipe all the buildings out. You take the fathers that knew the knowledge, and you let them have babies, and then let the babies live on Earth, right?
Okay.
And you make them slaves on the slave planet.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And you start all over in the Stone Age.
I'm listening.
You see what I'm saying? This really happened. The thing is,
Well, Neil, hold on. Let me jump in. I need to keep you focused here, Neil. Let me help you for a second. You said when the war started. Which war?
The last one.
What do you mean?
The last war. Okay.
Millions of years ago, or Crimea?
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
In the book of Job, it says when he wrestled with the angel, he said the prince has prevailed over God and men. Okay? Prevailed means he conquered us. Another thing is you got Enoch, that these angels take him to heaven and shows that, the second and third heaven has troublemakers and evildoers and stuff.
I'm listening. Keep going.
What I'm saying? And then Paul talked about there's powers and principalities. We don't fight against blood and, whatever he's saying. But we fight against powers and principalities in high places. So that's three different things that's talking about we're in a battle now, and we've been in the battle for a long time.
So who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, we need help from the other universe people. The Dracos, let's see, who else? The reptilian greys and stuff like that. I actually found a place, I told you that before, where there's two alien species. I took a photograph. I found a photograph of one of them. He looked like an alien gray, but they got a dude that's dressed up like a Jedi, like on Star Wars. And it's carved in a mountain in California, and it's got two different alien species. Now, you could see these things, this stuff from 5 miles away. That's how big it is, the carving, of ancient alien and humans.
I want to see a picture of this.
The thing is, if we take a picture, I got to have a witness, and we can't tell nobody where it's at. See what I'm saying?
Can you go there by yourself, or do you need somebody to go with you?
Well, I need someone to go with me where it could take some good photographs. And the thing in Sedona, if you get on top of the airport and you look at the big mountain, they got a big carving of a lion's face in Sedona. And then they had another carving of American Indian hat, the right side of his face, and on the left side of his face was a owl.
And this is in Sedona.
Sedona, yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it yourself?
Yeah, I had 10 people on top of the airport. Every time I do my research and I see something, I make sure there's got at least 10 of us.
Right.
And all of them saw it except one lady. And I was waiting for her to find it. It's like, we was all waiting. Everybody was waiting for her to see it. And she's freaked out. Oh, my God, it's that big. She was looking for something small. It was gigantic. It's the whole daggone mountain that's carved out of this thing. But, and then north of Sedona, I found a carving of a giant one mountain. It looked like Zeus with long curly hair and long curly beard, and he had a little alien J-Rod, like conehead alien, right next to him on his left side.
Now, Neil, let me ask you something. Are you suggesting that these were carved? Are they just natural, and you're just, it just looks like Zeus, or it looks like a Jedi, or whatever, that you're just...
Them ones I was talking about looks like carvings, but I got more evidence of something else where around the dinosaur feet, where in northern Arizona, in the mud turned into stone and the dinosaur is laying there, you can see the dinosaur. Half of it's cast in stone, and the other half you can see its bones. Well, the feces were turned into stone, and then you got the petrified forest that was turned into stone right nearby. So when the meteorite hit, it turned everything into stone and vaporized whatever was around, right?
Well, but what I'm trying to understand here, Neil, because I think this is really cool, but what I'm trying to understand is you're saying that there is something here in California, you've seen it, that is carved, that is representing ET, right? And it's there. Two ETs.
Yeah, it's two different species, but then all right, I'm looking at the white Caucasian guy. He looked like a Jedi, like on Star Wars. I see him first. Then I see the other alien. He's behind him. Now, the alien that's behind him is the good alien because he's looking at the one at the right of the mountain of the Jedi dude. He's looking at him like, hey, I got my eyes on you like you're evil. Well, that photograph I sent you, I think, yeah. It's the evil one. His eyes are like slanted and looks like a reptilian gray.
You sent me
that's the evil one, I think.
You sent me a picture
that
of
could be
it?
Draco. I don't know.
I don't know if you sent. I don't think you sent me a picture of it. I'd remember.
Well, I sent. Oh yeah, I sent it on the group thing. Well, I actually did. I tried to do Messenger, I think, or something, or emailed you something, but I did it in the group. I wrote a story about it, like I'm talking to you right now.
Okay. So, but this is where I'm going with this, Neil. What you are saying is there is something that was carved here in California, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which got a Jedi and a little alien guy in the background. They're looking at each other. Now you're saying that was carved. That isn't some natural erosion in rock. You're saying that was carved. And then over...
No.
Right? That's what you're saying.
No. When you look at it, it's going to blow your mind, man. I'm telling you. You know the dude with the hood? You know, he's got a hood on like the Jedi? It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Are you talking...
The thing is, I told American Indian, I showed of like 5 people about it, and they all could see it. American Indian that lives there, she said we knew about that.
How big is
it?
They're
keeping that stuff, they're keeping it sick. Oh, man, it's the whole mountain. I mean, a football field long, I guess.
Wow. But it was carved.
Yeah,
it's not
very big.
Neil, I want to understand. You're saying that it was carved and not natural.
No, it's kind of like they did it with a laser, like you see on them computer laser things, you know.
Okay.
It was like, golly, how can they carve something like that?
And where is it in California?
It's in these big mountains. It's on Highway 395. I just don't want to tell nobody. Because, see, I don't want a lot of people going over there because the problem is they might have tunnels or some passageways or some other stuff. If you film around that one area, there's no telling what else you might see, too. But I need to disclose this because this is proving, especially in Sedona, you got this dude with long hair and a beard, and he's a white Caucasian male, look like a Greek, and he's got an alien right next to him. That proves that we used to live amongst aliens. You know, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
And this in Sedona, you can see it from the Sedona airport.
No, that's the Lion.
That's the Lion. Okay.
See, what I did was I camped out north, and then I went east, south, west, and I seen like these all like temples over there and all kinds of stuff. And Sedona is a very cool place to go because it's got a lot of them secrets, like the Lion, the man with the long beard. You know, this is a white Caucasian guy, you know, in America, right? And then the Jedi dude, he looks like he's he's not Indian, you know, you could tell by looking at him. You know, so we got the evidence. I'm just tired of people saying that we're like 20,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah. Well, thank you for the phone call, Neil, and be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow night on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. The first off, Neil is right. The age of us is, but I'm looking here on Twitter. Eric just posted. Eric, I need some clarification here. Eric just posted a picture. Is this Sedona? Is this the lion head? What am I looking at here? You just said there is proof. And I'm squinting my eyes, man. I'm trying to see what is going on here. So I don't see it. Eric, clarify. Clarify as to what this is. But, okay, so I saw a video. Okay, here we go. Here are the gods and aliens. Okay, I guess I kind of... see, this is the thing. We're going to see whatever we want to see. Eric, this is a beautiful picture of a cliff. Okay, but there's the lion's head. Okay, all right, now I see it. That's interesting. I don't know. That looks more like the lion guy from The Wizard of Oz than it does a lion's head. But I see what everybody's talking about, I guess, what Neil is talking about. That's the airport mesa. I don't know. You guys listen to the conversations just like I did. But I see the lion's head here. Okay. All right. But isn't that just, I watched... This is like 10 years ago. I watched a 3-hour documentary about the valley with all of the animals that are carved into the valley. It doesn't even matter. I can't remember the country. Was it Peru or Argentina or something? And I watched that for 3 hours. And I'm sorry. There wasn't one instance of anything man-made or carved. I didn't get it out of it. And I understand the researchers are going there for years and filming these different videos and angles and photographs and looking at past researchers and stuff. I just didn't see it, man. I really, lion's head. But I didn't see any of it. And I'm talking about certainly this filmmaker, an entire lifetime of research and documenting this and trying to convince us of what they were seeing. I didn't see it. And it got, for me, I got a little sad, and it also was a little painful to continue watching it, where any one of these angles where you can kind of see, and you kind of give in. You go, okay, all right, I see the nose, I see the ridge of the eyes, okay, I can see the lips, I can see the chin. And then you go to another angle, and it's clearly not that. It's just one angle and one profile shot. That doesn't mean that it was carved. That this is some representation of, a million-year-old civilization that was carving these into these rocks in this valley. I just don't see it, and I just let me be straight. I know that there's something going on. I know that there's something strange happening. I've had my experiences. I know that that we're not being told the truth. And I know that there is just a conspiracy of things, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. But then there's the other part of me where, even I have to draw the line and back up and go, man, I just don't see it here. I just don't. Aliens are everywhere. Okay, look, Eric, I'm looking at this picture. I don't know. I don't see anything here. But this is what's really strange. When we were up at ESETI, and we had that strange door thing that opened up on the top of the mountain. Well, facing the door on the other side of the mountain, and I don't know if it was the angle that we were at, and we're also 14 miles away, but I saw like 3 or 4 faces that were carved in the side of the mountain that would look like they were looking at to where the door was. And very intricate, very precise. This isn't some case of pareidolia and you're just imagining things. No, not the case. But I'm looking at this picture here that Eric just posted, and it's in Twitter. It says, aliens are everywhere. I don't see any aliens. And maybe, I need somebody to point. You need to put some circles on this picture so I can take another look at it. Oh, man. And I'm not saying that what Neil is talking about isn't real. I haven't seen the pictures of it. And the shot here of the lion, all right, I can kind of, I can see it, I guess. Yeah. But what does it look like from another angle? That's the thing. From this angle here, I can see it all. Whiskers, I can see the eyes, I can see the nose, I can see the mouth. But he looks like the cowardly lion, though, from Wizard of Oz, as opposed to something a little bit more convincing. But, okay, so there you go. Neil, thank you for the phone call. And one thing is for sure, I am convinced now more than ever, and especially after NASA just released this asteroid crater in Greenland and slapped that 12,000-year-old date on it. And it would have been wonderful if Graham Hancock would have had this for his latest book, America Before. But it keeps pointing back. Randall Carlson, John Anthony West, Robert Schoch, Robert Bauval, Graham Hancock, and the celestial calendar and where Orion was and Leo in Giza that keeps pointing back to the same date, and then you throw Göbekli Tepe in, and there you go. There's something going on here, and I firmly believe that there was an ancient high-tech civilization that was around a long time ago that faced some pretty intense challenges here, like this asteroid that smacked into Greenland. And could there have been something else, whether it's comets or asteroids or other things that hit here in North America too as well, and quite possibly around the same time, and what would have led to Göbekli Tepe being deliberately buried at around 11,000 BC. All of this points to the same thing. So we've got answers. We've got answers to these questions, and they're right here. They're right in front of us. It's one of the most fascinating times to be around. And with that, tomorrow night, right here, Scott Wolter is going to be here. We're going to talk about the lost diaries and journals of Sinclair, and we're going into heavy Templar history tomorrow night. Scott Wolter is one of the best. I can't wait for him to be here for an excellent warm-up to the show tomorrow night. Go to Scott Wolter's blog and check it out right there, because there are two recent articles that he has posted that we will be using for reference tomorrow night on the show. With that, I am going to get out of here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, and Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to R.N. Vooght. Amazing book, and just go to the links over at jimmychurchradio.com. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. Göbekli Tepe.